And the latest claims of damage being inflicted on the invading army coming in from Ukraine. New images of a Russian Sukhoi Su-34 fighter bomber jet being shot down, with dramatic images captured on camera and released by the Ukrainian government. This reportedly happened on the outskirts of Kyiv, captured on India Today's cameras by our correspondent Ihor Didenko. These are not second-hand images, and these are images you're seeing only here on India Today. These are images that the Ukrainian government has described as the Russian Sukhoi Su-34 fighter bomber being shot down in Kharkiv. What you're watching as a missile hits the jet is the moment when that Russian jet is struck and then crashes. The fate of the pilot is not yet known. He may have actually managed to eject, but this is a heart-stopping first-hand video, not taken by an agency, not released by the Ukrainian government, but filmed by India Today's reporter on the ground, Ihor Didenko. This is a first-hand video. That's why you've got a watermark running over it so people don't steal our footage, because we've got reporters on the ground giving you a first-hand look at what's happening. This video has been shared multiple times since we broadcast it earlier this morning, and the Ukrainian authorities have corroborated and told our reporters on the ground that this was a Russian Su-34 fighter bomber that was being hit by a surface-to-air weapon system by the Ukrainian ground forces. In fact, the wreckage of this aircraft has already also been seen. This aircraft was apparently hit late last night or this morning, and there you can see the wreckage of the aircraft on the ground. Now, we can't confirm whether this is the wreckage of the same aircraft, but this is the wreckage of a Su-34 fullback fighter bomber of the Russian Air Force. Remember, Russia has so far been using attack helicopters and Su-25s. Ukraine has claimed to have shot down 4 Su-34 fighter bombers. These are advanced fighters. These are advanced fighter bomber aircraft. Not easy to hit, but Ukraine, which had claimed to have had its air defenses paralyzed by Russia, once again demonstrating that its surface-to-air capability is alive and kicking. Remember, the disclaimer always applies that all of these images lie in the realm of claims, except that image on your left, which has been captured first-hand by India Today's Ihor Didenko. Gaurav Sawant continues to be with me on this. Gaurav, the escalating war of claims between both sides is getting very, very intense. A couple of days ago, we were talking about Su-25 jets being shot down, near Irpin and elsewhere. Now we're talking about a Su-34. And a Su-34 is an advanced, high-flying, supersonic, all-weather, day-night, a fighter bomber, Gaurav, an advanced aircraft that is capable of, countermeasures, evading incoming missiles. The Ukrainians appear to be scoring one hit after another on even advanced aircraft.
Shiv, this is a setback for Russia. A Su-34 being shot down, a fighter bomber being shot down with advanced avionics, with advanced systems, including more than just flares and chaffs for its protection. That's being shot down is an indication that even on day 13, Ukraine has its air defense apparatus in place, despite Russia relentlessly pounding the air defense assets, the air bases of Ukraine relentlessly for 13 days. This image that Ihor has shot is actually now viral even here in Ukraine. It is being talked about very extensively. In the dead of the night, there is this aircraft, and a high-flying aircraft. It wasn't swooping down for a strike. It's a high-flying aircraft. There's a missile that's targeted at it, and it just explodes in a ball of flames and comes crashing down. Shiv, the air battle has intensified in the past 24 to 48 hours. It has actually intensified quite a bit. The Ukrainians now claim that in 13 days, they've shot over 100 Russian fighter jets, attack helicopters and transport helicopters. They're saying the majority of those hits have actually happened in the past couple of days when the Russian attack helicopters accompanying those armored columns are being targeted. Shiv, when we interviewed the governor of the Kyiv region, and he is the military commander of the entire Kyiv region, he said the Russian advance, it wasn't as if the Russians were advancing slowly towards Kyiv. It was just that they were being relentlessly targeted by the Ukrainian army and militia at multiple locations, and that is why they were unable to regroup, reassess their move and move forward. Kyiv is also claiming to have killed a second senior officer of the Russian army, and this time, of course, Ukraine is claiming that he was killed in an intelligence-based operation near Kharkiv. So while there are a lot of claims, there are a lot of counter claims, the fact remains, even on day 13, Kyiv continues to fight back and target Russian Air Force. That's a setback for Russia, because 13 days into this conflict, a much superior air power, a much superior military power hasn't been able to completely destroy the surface-to-air systems in this country, and additional weapons and systems and fighters who are very capable of operating these systems are now coming into this country, Shiv.
And you know, Gaurav, the level of air assets that we've seen become much more visible over the last 3 to 4 days that you've been reporting personally from Irpin, from Hostomel and from the outskirts of Kyiv, suggests that the Russians have definitely visibly amped up the use of air power. And it also, correct me if I'm wrong, Gaurav, but Russia also has an appetite for taking a lot of damage. That's also very visible. You know, if they've lost a lot of aircraft, if they've lost a lot of tanks, it's almost like the Russians have said, we've got much more where that came from, so bring it on.
Oh, absolutely. No two ways about it. You're spot on this. And Russia has a bigger aim. Russia has a bigger aim that President Putin wants to achieve, and his army is going ahead and delivering on that aim. It also remains a fact that while they have suffered reverses, while Ukraine hasn't been a pushover that may have been anticipated, that just by amassing troops at the borders or launching shallow attacks, President Zelensky would either flee or there would be a regime change. That clearly has not happened. But Russia also hasn't stopped. In fact, it's intensified, and every couple of days its operations go a couple of notches higher. Ukraine requires an air force that Ukraine hasn't been able to sort out just as yet, because 14 of its airfields have systematically been pounded, including the one in Vinnytsia that was pounded by 8 missiles late day before night and early yesterday morning. So Russia is ensuring that at least air power, there is no parity. Point one. Point two, their desperation or their keenness to take out air defense assets wherever they can, that's been happening relentlessly. Radar stations are being pounded, intelligence-based operations are being mounted to take out wherever they know that they can take out air defense systems, including in some instances where there are claims and counterclaims, Shiv, on whether those air defense systems are very close to residential areas, and that is why Russia says certain pockets have been targeted, while their aim remains only targeting military installations, because they want to have a good relationship with the people of this country once there has been a regime change and this country demilitarized with only about 60,000 security personnel remaining, who will be trained by Russia and not by NATO countries. But as long as weapons continue to flow into Ukraine, as long as systems continue to flow into Ukraine in terms of air defense systems, in terms of ATGMs, SAMs and fighters, Shiv, now we are told, and this was told to us by an official here in the government, that there are about 3,000 foreign fighters who are coming in, who are veterans of Afghanistan and Iraq operations. They're retired veterans or conscripts of certain other countries who are very well versed in using these weapons and systems. They are coming to protect Kyiv and the skies around Kyiv. If those fighters also come in, and they're not members of any, they're not soldiers of any country, but they're just retired soldiers or conscripts, their coming in would be a major shot in the arm for the defense of Kyiv in the days ahead, Shiv.
Gaurav, thank you very much for joining me on that. Stay safe. It continues to be risky in Kyiv. That ceasefire is a little iffy because we can still hear the grads, we can still hear the shelling behind you. And it's a little disconcerting also to see a seasoned war reporter like Gaurav, not even flinch when he hears the shells landing close to him. That is also a symptom of having been in the war zone for a long time. When you hear missiles hit, when you hear shells hit, you stop flinching, because it becomes just part and parcel of the sounds you're hearing day in and day out. And if you saw Gaurav's recent report during that air raid siren, no sense of alarm. And that's, that's just, I just wanted to highlight that, because that's what first-hand war reporting can actually do. Gaurav, stay safe, my friend. We'll keep coming back to you.